All right, joining us now with reaction to tonight's breaking news, our opening monologue. He is a former U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, Joe diGenova, Fox News contributor, Andrew McCarthy, and, of course, he writes for National Review, two of the smartest people I know. Good to see you. So Strzok gets to go behind closed doors. He says he's going to talk, and I don't believe it.
Well, he probably is going to talk, Sean, because he talked to Horowitz. So, you know, I think he sounds like he's one of these guys who thinks he can go into the room and kind of control the room. I mean, Horowitz says that
is really arrogant and stupid.
Well, Horowitz said that he had very long, involved answers on every question he asked about, you know, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? So he may just be one of these guys who thinks he can go into that environment and do okay. And he's got reasons to think that, because in a courtroom where there's a judge, somebody can't get away with just giving their side of the story and then saying, when you try to cross-examine them, national security reasons or, you know, investigative integrity. A judge would tell them, no, you told your side of the story. Now they get to ask you about the hard stuff. In a congressional hearing, you can dodge that stuff. I mean, they get away with that all the time.
I have some faith in a few of the congressmen there. Jordan, Gates, some of the people Sarah was talking about. You know one thing you said, Joe diGenova, that still sticks with me, because so many of my family, my mom was a prison guard, my dad worked in family court probation, I had cousins that were on the NYPD. The two guys that were deity were both FBI guys. And you say bad cop, and sadly it's true. And he was the lead guy, interviewed Clinton, interviewed Flynn, began the Russia investigation, which I would argue renders it illegitimate from the get-go. This is the guy you're talking about. This is one of the guys, not the rank and file guys.
Yeah, well, as I said from the very beginning of this, James Comey was a dirty cop, and Mr. Strzok is dirtier. The bottom line is very simple. He's going to go in tomorrow and he's going to lie. He's going to give explanations that are untruthful. He says that when Lisa Page asked him, he's not speaking about President or candidate Trump. He can't win, can he? We can't have him as president. And Strzok says, no, we'll stop it. Now, he is claiming that there's an explanation for we'll stop it. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, you know, you're two people that I don't think I'd want to mess with in a courtroom. I kind of agree. But then there's the insurance policy. Then there's the lonesome human being. Then there's, you know, beyond we'll stop it. Then there's the actions. Now it's real. This is real. And I'm, you know, some superior belief that he's doing it, you know, for noble causes. Yeah. But really, he's almost attempting a coup because somebody who was guilty of crimes, he pushes under the rug, and then they go full force sledgehammer on the other candidate. You know, that, to me, is influencing an election. And collusion.
Let's just be very clear about this. This is not a complicated case. The FBI at the senior levels in the Obama administration and the Department of Justice, Loretta Lynch and all her minions, had two goals in mind. Very simple, very plain. Exonerate Hillary Clinton illegally, and then if she lost the election, to frame Donald Trump. That's it. It's in a nutshell. It's never changed over the last 2 years, and everything that we have learned from the text messages, the IG reports, et cetera, has proven conclusively that that is precisely what James Comey and Loretta Lynch and the Obama administration people wanted to do. And it was the most brazen plot in the history of U.S. law enforcement, and it won't make much difference unless we get all the facts out on the table.
Andy, I agree.
Look, I think it's clear that these were two investigations that were going on at the same time. And whether you're a liberal or a conservative, Republican or Democrat, I don't know how you look at them and say that the same quality of justice was accorded to both. Clearly it wasn't.
But you know, equal justice under the law, equal application of our laws, our constitutional system here. Listen, it all started with Hillary. She committed felonies, the biggest, most obvious case of obstruction. They made every consideration, thread every needle, even though other people went to jail for far worse. And then you go to what they did to Donald Trump, what Joe's talking about. Right. Then how do you lie to a FISA judge, Andy, Not once, 4 times, unverified, uncorroborated, against the law, against FBI protocol. 4 times using bought and paid for political op research from an outsider, a foreign national.
Sean, I think on one side of the coin with Hillary, it looks like they bent over backwards to not make the case in the face of mountainous evidence against her. And on the other side, where you don't have evidence of a crime, it seems that they scorched the earth to try to stop this presidency.
That, to me, is an attempt at bypassing the will of the American people. And you're right, Joe, really when you get down to the brass tacks here, it's a simple case of the abuse of power far deeper than anything we ever imagined with Watergate and corruption, in my opinion.
Now, here's the simple fact. What the FBI and the DOJ in the Obama administration did was subversion. No, plain and simple. This is 1954 communist stuff. Subversion. They sought to subvert an election, and when the person that they didn't want got elected, they sought to subvert his presidency. They have done everything in their power. And don't forget, even though Strzok is testifying tomorrow, the guy who started all of this was John Brennan, the CIA director, in cooperation with Clapper. None of this will be fair unless both of them finds themselves in front of a grand jury.
Last word, Andy.
I think he'll have a lot to say tomorrow behind closed doors, but I still think let the texts speak for themselves.
Should they release the transcript? Congress has the power to make that. The chairman have the power.
As soon as they scrub it I assume they're asking him questions behind closed doors because they may get into classified matters, but I think as soon as they can scrub that, it should be
Why can't they do what they often do, which is they do some in public and then whatever they need to ask?
I hope that's what they are going to do. I think Jim Jordan said he regards this as step 1. So I think this is step 1, and then there'll be a public hearing. I
think there will be people that go to jail, and I think it's the worst abuse of power we've ever seen. And I think it's going to get worse based on what people tell me. Thank you. Great work on NRO. Joe, you're always so shy. We really need you to come out of your shell a little bit more, just a hair. Joe diGenova, thank you.